Welcome to Sleepover Cinema, where we analyze the films that created the collective unconscious of those with a heavy flow and a wide-set vagina. I'm Hannah Leach.
And I'm Audrey Leach. We are the sister filmmaking duo also known as Two Pink Pictures, and we haven't stopped thinking about these movies since we first saw them.
We're going to explore the good, the bad, and the nonsensical of the movies that first inspired our love for film in an attempt to answer the question, are these movies actually good? And at the end of the day, do we really care if they are?
Today we are talking about, finally, 2004's Mean Girls.
I'm 16, but until today, I was homeschooled. And then it was goodbye, Africa. And hello, high school. Hi, I'm Katie. I'm Janice. This is Damien.
Watch out! New meat coming through!
This map shows the school's central nervous system, the cafeteria.
You got your cool Asians, burnouts, jocks, the greatest people you will ever meet, and the worst.
So you've never been to a real school before? Shut up. Shut up!
I didn't say anything. Plastics. Who are the plastics?
They're teen royalty.
That's Karen Smith. She is one of the dumbest girls you will ever meet.
I'm kind of psychic. Really? It's like I have ESPN or something.
Gretchen Wieners.
She has 2 Fendi purses and a silver Lexus.
And evil takes a human form in Regina George. She knows everything about everyone.
That's why her hair is so big. It's full of secrets.
We want to invite you to have lunch with us.
Regina seems sweet.
Get in, loser. We're going shopping.
Your house is really nice.
I know, right?
Being with the plastics was like leaving the actual world and entering girl world.
Have you seen any guys that you think are cute yet?
There's this guy in my calculus class. His name's Aaron Samuels.
No. That's Regina's ex-boyfriend. Ex-boyfriends are off limits. I mean, that is just like the rules of feminism.
Gretchen told me that you like Aaron Samuels. I could talk to him for you if you want.
Really? You would do that?
You're so hot.
Why would she do that?
She's a life ruiner.
I knew how this would be settled in the animal world. But this was girl world. All the fighting had to be sneaky.
I want to lose 3 pounds.
They're these nutrition bars my mom uses to lose weight.
It won't close.
It's a 5. You could try Sears.
Why are you eating a Caltine bar?
What?
They make you gain weight like crazy.
Who does she think she is? I like invented her.
I'm sorry I laughed at you.
I'm sorry I called you fat.
I'm sorry that people are so jealous of me. But I can't help it that I'm popular.
Walk it off! Walk it off!
And before we get to this what is sure to be very lively discussion of Mean Girls, I just want to say, I want to put an offer out there. So, if you're a podcast listener, you've probably heard your favorite hosts beg for reviews on Apple Podcasts in many ways. However, I think that I have come up with a good carrot, if you will, to lure you into reviewing the show. Okay, so if you haven't yet, if you leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts, and then you probably should DM us or something so we know that you did it. Or if you put it in your review, we will give you a shout out on the podcast in the form of maybe improvising or maybe pre-producing a song about you in the style of an artist of your choice. It's going to be a 10-second song, though.
Oh my God.
And Audrey didn't know about this until right now, so I will take up the responsibility for that, but I think that it would be fun. So if you want to hear, if your name is like Brenda and you want to hear like a Hillary Duff style 10-second earworm of your name, go leave us a 5-star review and then let us know, and we will deliver in a public forum.
Maybe it should be like name and something else, just to like give it like somewhere to go.
Yeah,
like,
okay. Name and problem?
Yeah.
Okay, so
Wait.
So give us name and or maybe name and like noun. Or give us your name and something you want us to involve in the content.
Yeah, just it can be anything. Or it could just be your name, but like it's a little more spicy if there's another element.
Yeah, if you give us some more elements, it'll be good. Okay, so I hope that encourages you. Thank you in advance. I look forward to this challenge. And now Audrey, so why have we waited this long to talk about Mean Girls, would you say?
Well, I think Mean Girls is pretty much the first movie, if not, one of the first few movies that people will think of when they think of this genre. And there's also been so many video essays, BuzzFeed articles, like basically I feel like this genre of like nostalgia culture that we are all partaking in, like it hit Mean Girls first. Yes. Like I think people started doing this sort of review and commentary of Mean Girls before everything else. So when we started the show, we were just kind of like, let's not do Mean Girls, because I think I don't know that the world needs that content, truly. Right. But, and we haven't really revealed this yet. We haven't revealed this, but for for the second half of the third season, we are planning on doing musicals strictly.
Ooh.
So once we came up with that idea, we were like, maybe we should knock out Mean Girls at this point.
Yeah. We're feeling up to the challenge of coming up with something original to say, or at least something that is literally not just directly ripped off of a BuzzFeed article. I don't know what it is with BuzzFeed articles and Mean Girls where it feels so indelibly tied.
Yeah.
It's probably just, well, okay, I'll say more about this later, but just like the like titanium chain connecting like millennials to Mean Girls is like so intense that I think it's like almost cringe in some ways to even talk about it. But you know what? I really enjoyed rewatching it.
Is Mean Girls chuggy at this point?
I mean, I think it is, but you know what?
I think it is.
I was going to say that word, and then I was like, maybe I shouldn't. Like, I don't know.
I don't know. I think it might be, but...
No, it definitely is. Like, referencing Mean Girls is deeply, deeply, deeply chuggy.
Yeah, like, it's very much like a cursive font on a mug that says, "You go Glen Coco."
Yeah, it's true.
Like, that's true. Just
what we're definitely like reading people in the audience right now by saying that, though.
That's okay, guys. You know why? Because I don't discourage that. I don't discourage that behavior. I just think that we should all recognize it for what it is. Like, is that not what this is about?
It's like that tweet that's like, "I am cringe, but I am free." It's very
that.
Okay, so with all that in mind, let's just get into the facts, shall we? So, Mean Girls was released in the U.S. on April 19th, 2004, quite a time for our culture, and was directed by Mark Waters. Now, Mark Waters is best known for directing 500 Days of Summer, another classic, Ghosts of Girlfriends Past, The Spiderwick Chronicles, the 2021 He's All That just came out that everyone is weighing in on. And also he directed Freaky Friday, which is crazy because Freaky Friday and Confessions of a Teenage Drama Queen and Mean Girls all came out like really close to each other. So I don't know. He was steering two of the biggest Lindsay Lohan vehicles at the time. This movie was produced by a lot of people, actually. There were like 6 people credited as producers, but a lot of them only had like 3 credits, including this. So I just picked the people that have the most comprehensive track record. First of all, well, okay. For better or for worse, this movie is a massive SNL circle jerk.
Yeah.
And not to use the phrase circle jerk because ew, but like that's literally what it is. I mean, SNL is a circle jerk. Like that's what it is. Like it's like all of America watching a circle jerk. But anyway, so Lorne Michaels was one of these producers, and he's like the man behind SNL. Like he's been producing it for 1,000 years. He's like the guy in charge. He also is a producer, or was a producer, on 30 Rock, Coneheads, The Kids in the Hall, Shrill, Late Night with Seth Meyers, AP Bio, Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon, not Kimmel, etc. So basically it was like anything that has like an SNL alum on it that's like NBC affiliated, he tends to be like up in the business of. I just have weird beef with SNL in general because everyone I went to college with wanted to be on SNL because it was like before it was embarrassing to be on SNL, and it just makes me think about how much college was the worst.
I wonder if those people still feel the same way now. Like, do they still want to be on it? Because obviously, given the opportunity, of course they would be on it.
Right.
Like, duh, you just can't get on it. Like, it's not that the show is great. It's not that the jokes land. It's not that the sketches are clever, witty, or cunning. It is simply that it's a huge platform. Like, of course they would do it if they could.
I agree. And I also just feel like I don't know. I feel like when we were younger, there was like more trust in institutions like that, and I feel like now there's just like way less. Like, people question authority way more, at least people like in our genre of human definitely are less into it. The second producer is Louise Rosner. She executive produced the 2021 Cinderella that we have shat on already. She also was involved in The Big Short, The Hunger Games, Baby Mama, Hot Rod, She's All That, and weirdly a lot of Mary-Kate and Ashley direct-to-video productions from when they were little kids. So
good.
Really, pardon our SNL tangent, but it is really relevant because there's so many people in this movie that are SNL alumni, including the screenwriter Tina Fey. This was actually her first screenwriting gig, which is like, imagine what privilege, as they like, as we say. This was her first screenwriting gig. However, she was a actor and writer, comedian on SNL for many years. She is best known for Mean Girls, 30 Rock, Date Night, Sisters, Baby Mama, and she was the showrunner of Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt, which to me also falls into the chuggy category very, very hard. And also with Tina Fey, and this will clearly come up when we're talking about the movie, she sort of has a legacy of like making minorities the butt of the joke a lot of the time, and like not really doing a great job at owning up to it after the fact. So she's an interesting creative. However, I don't know. A lot of people really love her. I feel like she's made a lot of mistakes.
I watched a really good video essay about this exact topic, and I think if you're interested in this topic, like, we should link it because it was really in depth.
Anyway, Tina Fey is the writer, and then also Rosalind Wiseman gets writer credit for this movie because she wrote the nonfiction book Teen Bees and Wannabes, which Tina Fey read, and it ended up inspiring the movie. Honestly, very happy for Rosalind that her nonfiction book about bullying somehow got spun into all of this. Who would have thought?
Here's the plot synopsis. Katie Heron is a hit with the Plastics, the A-list girl clique at her new school, until she makes the mistake of falling for Aaron Samuels, the ex-boyfriend of Alpha Plastic Regina George. Also not good.
I think it's okay.
It's okay. But like, when will somebody provide us with a really accurate plot synopsis?
I don't know.
In the grand scheme, that one was not bad. And then taglines, we've got a whole bunch. The first one, I'm just gonna list them off real fast.
Go for it.
Welcome to Girl World, Survival of the Ruthless, Mean, Meaner, Meanest, So Fetch, Watch Your Back, They're Coming, This Summer, Be Part of the In Crowd, and Only the Strong Survive.
This is an extremely stacked cast, and it was like almost more stacked now looking back at it than it was at the time, because like basically every single person in this movie like is known for their role in this movie now, because this movie was so huge. You already know who the leading lady is. We have Lindsay Lohan as Katie Heron. I don't need to tell you anything about her, but just for fun, she is in The Parent Trap, Freaky Friday, Just My Luck, Herbie Fully Loaded, Confessions of a Teenage Drama Queen, and Get a Clue, and many other things, but those are kind of like the main things she's known for, at least with us. Next up, we have Rachel McAdams as Regina George, And she also had The Notebook come out same year, unreal. But she's known from The Notebook, Mean Girls, Red Eye, Sherlock Holmes, True Detective, many other things. But I think The Notebook and Mean Girls are really her career crown jewels for sure. And then we have Tina Fey as Miss Norbury. We already talked about her. We have Tim Meadows as Mr. Duval. He was in The Ladies' Man. And then The Goldbergs, Bob's Burgers. He's like had a really, really long TV comedy career, and he was also on SNL, unsurprisingly. Next up, we have Amy Poehler as Regina George's mom. She's best known for Inside Out, Baby Mama, Parks and Rec. And of course, she was also on SNL. She did like all the UCB shit. She actually co-founded UCB, I think. She did.
Know.
I'm sure that that's true.
Oh.
It was her and I think like a partner, or I don't know. Again, I have literally done everything in my power to delete everything related to UCB and comedy from my brain post 2017 because that's just a healthy way to be. Next up, we have Lacey Chabert. She's best known for Mean Girls, definitely, and also she was the voice of Eliza in The Wild Thornberrys, which I totally forgot about. She was a child star. She was on a million episodes of Party of Five, and she was also in All My Children. But other things that she's known for are Lost in Space, Not Another Teen Movie, Ghosts of Girlfriends Past, Hallmark Christmas movies / Hallmark movies in general, and there was apparently also a Spider-Man TV show, and she was Gwen Stacy in that, so that's cool. And then next up, we have Amanda Seyfried as Karen Smith. She was in the Les Mis movie, R.I.P. She was in Mamma Mia. Again, this is one of these people that gets casted in musicals all the time, and I don't know why, because she's really not a great singer, in my opinion. Do you agree?
I can't really say I've heard anything that floored me. She kind of sounds like Snow White.
She also was in Dear John, The Dropout, the TV show Big Love, and Veronica Mars. And she also was on All My Children when she was a child. So perhaps she and Lacey knew each other from back in the day. We just have a few more people here. There's so many relevant characters that it was like really hard to pick and choose like who to put in. Next, we have Lizzie Kaplan as Janice Ian. What I wouldn't do for this character. I love her so much. She is best known for being in Cloverfield, Now You See Me, Hot Tub Time Machine, LOL, Masters of Sex, Party Down, True Blood, The Class, and Freaks and Geeks, apparently, which I will have to rewatch.
You don't
to
remember
encounter.
that?
I don't remember her on that show.
Do you remember the disco part where Jason Segel's character gets into disco and he like, it's like embarrassing and like they all hate it? She's the one that he does that with.
Oh, okay. I'll have to
Yeah.
I mean, I actually started rewatching it recently for the first time since like mom showed it to us when we were in like middle school or high school. So I don't remember, but I will have to rewatch. We have Daniel Francesi as Damien. He is known for being in the movie I Spit on Your Grave, Party Monster, Bully, but really Mean Girls is his most significant, massively culturally impactful role. And something that I find really interesting is his personal story is actually really similar to Brian's from School of Rock, who played Fancy Pants, aka the little boy who says Liza Minnelli, in the sense of like he was cast in a role as a gay character but he wasn't out yet, and it was really, really hard for him to like come to terms with who he was, despite the fact that he was like internationally celebrated for being this like very gay character.
He didn't come out until the 10th anniversary. So
yeah, it was 2014.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's funny because he's very much like in like the Drag Race adjacent like white gays circle now. You see him on shows like Hey Queen. He was actually just in Bibi Zahara Benet's music video. Like he's in it. And hilariously also, or not hilariously, but like of course, Jonathan Bennett, who plays Aaron Samuels, also is an out and gay and Drag Race adjacent man these days. He was in the Ariana Grande Thank You Next video, reprising his role. Other things he's been in besides Mean Girls, it was like he hosted Cake Wars, and he was IMDb was like, he's known for being in A Dog Walker's Christmas. And I was like, I don't know what the hell that is, but I'm pretty sure it's Hallmark. And Tina Fey has been quoted multiple times saying that they casted him because he looked like Jimmy Fallon, which is true.
It's questionable.
And it is questionable. And perhaps that's why he, like, doesn't have, like, a ton of other big roles and things.
I don't know. I think he's really good in Mean Girls.
He is really good in Mean Girls. Also, I have to circle back and say that Daniel was also in the show Looking, which was like the HBO Jonathan Groff series about like being a hot gay white man in San Francisco. Which is just like, is all very on theme. Like Jonathan Bennett and Daniel definitely run in the same circles, which is funny. Okay, Audrey, your turn.
All right. So the budget was $17 million. Box office opening weekend was 24,432,195, and the overall worldwide gross is 130,125,829. And I feel like in 2004 there was still very much room for like this mid-sized budget comedy. Like 17 million, that is a lot of money to civilians, but in the in the grand scheme, that is not that much. And they got so many great actors that would be costly as well. And then as far as the critic score, it ended up being 84%. I feel like that's roughly what I would expect. The critic consensus is elevated by a brilliant screenplay and outstanding ensemble cast. Mean Girls finds fresh, female-fronted humor in the high school experience.
There are moments of actual brilliance in this screenplay, though. Like, there's so many really good moments in it, which we will definitely get to in the second half. Yeah, so I picked a couple little critic blurbs here. Stephen D. Gradanis of Decent Films Guide was not into this movie. He said, though better written, better acted, and with more wit and subtlety than your average teen flick, the atmosphere in Mean Girls, with its promiscuous sex and, well, meanness, make it almost as nasty to sit through as these girls are to each other. Literally,
it's not for you.
Please put it away, sir. Like, sorry you can't handle girls being mean. Like, that's on you. And then Matt Brunson of Film Frenzy says, like Heathers and Clueless, this box office hit turns out to be that rare teen flick that refuses to be pigeonholed as a teen flick. So, you know, he's placing it in the canon. It's not a particularly flaming take, but you know what? I put it there anyway. The audience score was 66%, which seemed really low for this.
Yeah.
And all the reviews were like, I
That's
love
weird.
this movie. So I was like, why? Like, where's the beef? Like, I'm confused.
I don't feel like that's accurate to the world. Like, if I were to guess what the audience score would be, I would probably guess like 88 or something. Like,
Yes,
90.
me too. We've done a lot of 2004 movies at this point, so none of this is particularly groundbreaking.
There's
so
there's almost no point in even doing this.
I know. I'm just going to go really, really fast. I'm just going to read these words. It's going to be 30 seconds. We have Ashley Simpson's reign, relevant celebrities being Chad Michael Murray, Gwen Stefani, Paris Hilton, Usher, Justin Timberlake, Nick Lachey, and Jessica Simpson. And on the Disney Channel, stuff we were watching at the time, you had like Phil of the Future, That's So Raven. Really, they had a grip on us. And there was no Hannah Montana yet. And Lizzie McGuire was just winding down around this time. So that's sort of what we were watching. But Audrey, what do you remember about this movie the first time you saw it? Where were you? What were your reactions? What do you think of when you think of this movie? What do you got?
Oddly, this is another one, like, I don't know why, but the movies we've covered of late, I can't remember, like, my first time seeing them. I can't remember when I saw Mean Girls the first time. But it might have been, because I know we had the DVD, so I think it was that. And probably in middle school ish.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I totally forgot that this was one of the movies that we had in the car, but it definitely was.
Yeah, it was.
I totally forgot that I had seen this movie 100 times. Like, I feel like I've seen this movie so many times. And I was kind of shocked that I was able to even forget that. But the first time I saw it, I remember it very well. I had a best friend in like 4th, 5th, 6th grade who didn't look just like Audrey, but looked similarly to Audrey.
Similar
and was also
enough.
Named. Yeah, similar enough. It was before Audrey's hair got really curly, so it was a different game. But this girl's name was also Audrey, and she lived close to me. And she had an older sister who was like 17, 16 when we were like 11, so that she was like the coolest bitch in the world. And she had Mean Girls, and we watched it in Audrey's basement during a sleepover, and it was awesome. I remember it pretty well. This was also the same friend where, like, as we've talked about many times, Audrey and I had so many rules about the internet and about like stuff that we could and couldn't watch. But when I went to Audrey's house, it was like no holds barred. Like, we had YouTube with no controls. Like, we were watching music videos. Like, I vividly remember watching the Confessions of a Broken Heart music video in her basement. Also, like, the Nobody's Home Avril Lavigne music video. And we would watch the Kardashians. Like, I got to watch My Super Sweet 16 there, and I never got to watch that. And like, that was just like, when I think of this era of like juicy sweatsuit nostalgia from my childhood, I always think about being at Audrey's house, because they really subscribed to that shit there, and our house did not subscribe.
Yeah. And I only got that vibe like secondhand through you. Like, there was I was picking up the scraps, like.
You were picking up the scraps, and I'm really, it's a bummer. Really, I don't think that her life would have been as like liberated content-wise if she didn't have the way older sister. Yeah. Because I feel like everyone else that we knew like had either way older brothers, or like they weren't old. Like, the age gaps weren't big enough for like there to be lots of freedom.
Yeah, I mean, it's true. Like, if you had been way older than me or something, I'm sure I would have had the same experience. Like, you can't, as a parent, like, you can't have a teen, and, you know, like, it's just hard to like shield things from such different age groups in the same house.
Totally. But yeah, when I was watching this movie, I was actually feeling nostalgic and happy in a way that I really wasn't anticipating. But I'm excited to talk about the movie because I have a lot of notes, and I had a very good time. This movie is available on Amazon and YouTube for rental, but it's not on streaming right now. But it goes on and off of Netflix kind of a lot. So depending on when you're listening to this, it might be on Netflix, so it's worth a shot. But we will be right back. We will get into our unpacking of 2004's Mean Girls. We are back, everyone, and it is time to dive into our findings surrounding 2004's Mean Girls. The long-awaited, most obvious choice for Sleepover Cinema is finally being acknowledged. Let's start with the good things.
Right.
Right then, right.
The good things. Yeah, I also wrote soundtrack first.
Oh my god, me too.
Duh. Literally, duh. Like, we were just singing right before this. The yeah. I don't know what she's saying, but it's also the song on the DVD menu, which we're going to post because it is one of the best, if not the most elite DVD menu. Like,
yes.
I mean, we did watch the DVD a lot, so that makes sense that we know it so well. But the song is called Overdrive. It's great. You know what I noticed on this watch that I am an actual idiot for not noticing? Like, I think I did notice it, but I just didn't notice how many times it came up, is the yellow school bus. Yes. It comes up like 6 times.
They foreshadow it a lot.
They foreshadow it so much, and I can appreciate it. I mean, why not? Something to appreciate.
Yeah.
It's notable as well. I noticed on this watch that like the sort of like documentary or archival aspect, like the literal like almost mockumentary vibe of it is like underrated. Like people don't think of those moments when they think of Mean Girls.
Yeah.
I guess some people do, like they would think of the like she bought army pants and flip-flops, so I bought army pants and flip-flops, like that.
Yeah.
Those parts. But this watch, I was appreciating that stylistic choice, and I feel like that does contribute to why people love the movie so much, but nobody really talks about it, like, as a style. Also, a line that I loved and kind of forgot is just, I've been really busy with choir. Like,
It's really
he
good.
has all the best lines, but that scene where they're just like standing there plotting in the hallway, Damien, Janice, and Katie, and like the say crack one more time, crack, like that.
Yeah.
That scene had me actually laugh out loud, and I was like, wow. And then my last thing that I appreciated is how consistent and purposeful the extras are in this movie. Like, that you can spot the same people in like pretty much every scene, and I feel like it adds a real sense of community of the school. Like, these are the people that go to this school.
Yeah, I totally agree. Okay, my good things. A lot of this is just like specific quotes that still hit really well, but like when they're talking about all the cliques in the school, or no, it's not when they're talking about the cliques, it's when one of the girls is like, if I wore sweatpants, I would be sitting over there with the art freaks. And then it goes to Damien, and he's like, baby boo, with the meat on his face. I laughed out loud at that. I was like, that's so stupid. I love it. Okay. I loved that. This is kind of like a trademark of the movie secretly, but like the fact that Erin is bad at math is just really, really funny. And the fact that she's like, wrong. He was so wrong.
Yeah.
And I didn't care. Like, I loved that. I thought it was also really funny that when she goes to the Halloween party, he's like totally unfazed by the fact that she's dressed that way.
Yeah.
Like, he's not freaked out by that. Like, that is not what makes him uneasy around her at all. It's like Regina has to do all this lying to make him uncomfortable with her. I thought that was really funny.
He's almost like he's like a himbo or something.
No, he's a himbo, and I think a really good example of how he's a himbo is the fact that he sits at the lunch table with all the plastics, and it's just him and them. I'm like, that is not a thing that would happen. Like, that I just found really funny.
Yeah.
This time it really struck me that when after the Halloween party, when Damien and Janice and Katie come up with their like plan of how they're gonna take her down, they're like, these are the steps. It's like hot bod, aka technically good physique, which was really funny.
Yeah.
Like body, friends, boy, and it basically just maps out like where the movie is gonna take you. And it's very comforting. You're like, oh, okay, like, you know, the thing they always say, like, know when you get to go home. It's like once these 3 things have been addressed, you know that we're heading in the right direction. Loved that. I really love how they
I like
incorporate.
you always bring that up about like knowing the direction of a film, and like that phrase of whatever that is, like, no, what is it, like knowing when the audience. That's
a thing I learned. That's like a.
No, I know, and it's
like
it's true, it's valid, but I just think it's funny that you always bring it up, because you like, I could see you like feeling like, when's this shit gonna be over?
I just like it when I know, you know, like they do that on kid shows all the time. They're like, we're gonna do A, B, and C, and then this.
Yeah,
I just like
you
simple.
like the guide. You like
simple.
to be a little bit guided. Yeah, like you don't.
I do
you
like
don't
to be a bit guided.
Want like a free range, structureless thing.
Well, I think I also just enjoy dramatic irony a lot. It's kind of like when you start with, like, in a movie like Bernie or something where it's like, you know what's going to happen.
That's true.
Yeah,
it can can serve a story really well.
Yeah. Don't hate on me for liking what I like. I am what I am.
I'm not. I'm just spicing it up for all the listeners at home.
Okay, please do. Please do. We should fight. Anyway,
we should.
I love how they involve. Last time Audrey and I were alone, no, the day that we went to the screening of the documentary, Audrey said, "I wish I had a reason to fight you because I would." We were talking about how we never were allowed to physically fight each other, but now technically we could physically fight each other, but we don't have a reason to. The production design of the Burn book is so iconic. Mm-hmm. It looks so good. It literally, like, established an aesthetic, like, for years to come, honestly.
Yeah, it did. I think I kind of modeled one of my scrapbooks after it subconsciously.
I mean, did we not all do that? Like,
yeah.
It looked so good.
Yeah. But I mean, mine was not insulting people. It was just like our vacations of that year, but still.
With a shady format. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know that you don't have a notable category, but
actually I do. Maybe you should stop pigeonholing me.
Stop putting you in a box. Okay.
Yeah, like,
please
I can
proceed
change
with your notable things.
I
can't change. Even if I tried. Okay.
Literally all I wrote in notable is, please describe to me what a regulation hottie is.
I know. I wish they said that too.
Yeah, because they go, "You're a regulation hottie," and then they're like, "Oh, you'll get socialized a little slice like you."
Yeah.
But they don't explain it, so I'm assuming that regulation hottie it means like you are like set apart somehow from I don't know. I don't get it. Like, what does it mean?
Yeah, like there's some certain criteria you have to meet and we don't know what the criteria is.
Yeah. Like, I think it's interesting that they just drop that and then don't define it. But
I know. It's surprising that Lindsay doesn't go, regulation hottie, what's that?
I mean,
and then they like would have said something.
Could have been there. They might have taken it out. Who knows?
So one thing that I was kind of bringing up on the first half is that listening to Mean Girls, and it's hard to not notice how much this movie has influenced the way that millennials speak. Like, there's so much about it that I feel like seeped into the mainstream. Like when Miss Norbury says, "Well, this has been sufficiently awkward," I was like, that's some shit I would say, and I hate that, but it's true.
Yeah.
And I feel like this movie was just one of those movies that really like informed the like dialect of its viewers. Kind of like Juno, but less. It was like more achievable than Juno.
Yeah, Juno. You can't really
so
just
extreme.
You can't just like freeform talk like Juno.
But people do now, because when I watched it recently, I was like, they don't sound as out there as they once did. Because
Yeah.
people talk closer to this.
Yeah.
That I thought was interesting. I don't buy that Regina George would have an Avril Lavigne poster in her room, but she does have one in her room.
No, you know why you can buy it though?
Why?
Because she used to be friends with Janice.
Oh, true. Through line. Good point. You know this whole thing where people are like, the joke is that Janice is Lebanese, not that she's lesbian.
Mm-hmm.
I like get it, but I also like don't believe that that's actually the joke.
I just don't see why it would be her final punchline if it wasn't the joke.
But to me, it always struck me as a punchline on the fact that Kevin only dates women of color, and that he's like, oh, I can justify her as a woman of color or a woman of color because she's Lebanese.
Yeah, I personally, but also I was way too young, so whatever, but I never got that until recently, like maybe a year or two ago.
But I only found out about it because someone told me like 6 months ago, and even then I was like,
I think that the joke that you described is the more pertinent joke, and the other joke is sort of incidental. Like, I don't think that it is confirming anything. I don't think that it confirms that she's not a lesbian. I just think it's just kind of there.
yeah, right. But I feel like whenever people talk about it, they're like, she's not a lesbian, she's just Lebanese, like, ha ha ha. And I'm like, wait, but
I mean, it is the sort of
like,
it's the sort of misunderstanding that a fourth grader Regina George could have. Like, you know, I can't invite her to my pool party, like, blah blah blah. But it also conflates with just her. That is something that could happen regardless. Like, I agree. I think it's sort of the strange, like, overlap of things that were said where it could apply, but it also doesn't have to.
yeah, well, and also because I was paying special attention during that part when she's talking about like being friends with Janice when she's younger, and she's like, oh, it was like she was in love with me, like she got really jealous when I started dating this guy, and I was like, okay, so that's why she thinks she's a lesbian, because she got really jealous when she was dating someone else. So then the whole Lebanese thing, I'm like, I don't get it.
I think it applies more to Kevin only dating women of color. I actually do think that.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree, but for some reason everyone always wants to say that like that's the whole joke, and I'm like, I just don't really think that's it.
Once Katie starts going off the deep end and like Damien and Janice are just annoyed with her more than anything, Janice asks her, I called you last night, why didn't you call me back? And she says, I got busy or something.
Yeah.
But that's like a direct callback to what Regina says.
Right. Yeah.
About being friends with Janice. So I feel like, yeah, I think that adds. I don't feel that even if you were like born and raised in Africa, that you would be dumb enough to believe that all black people are from Africa. Like, why is she walking up to the...
Yeah.
Why is she walking up to black kids in the cafeteria and saying Jumbo? Like, I don't think you should be more aware of the world, not less aware of the world.
Right.
Like, when that happened, I was like, what?
I know, me too.
That would not happen if somebody truly was raised in Africa. Like, you would be very aware of your surroundings.
Really? Okay. For non-problematic bad things, when Katie's mom is like, why is my fertility vase under the sink? Like, this is the fertility vase of the Undabelli tribe. I was like, no, it's not. That vase is from Pier motherfucking One Imports. Like, that vase is so clearly not a tribal vase. Like, I just thought that was really funny that they said that, or like even tried to say that. But they couldn't have made like a more realistic looking vase. I was disappointed in their vase. I'm sorry. Okay. So now the problematic stuff. I think I have one thing to say that will open it up well.
Mm-hmm.
Which is that, like, there are a lot of non-straight white characters in this movie, but I feel like the thing that's so weird about watching it is that the story is told from like an extremely straight and white lens, to the point where if it's anyone who doesn't fit into those constraints, like their first and foremost identifier as a character is whatever their like minority identity is.
Right.
Yes. And it's really jarring.
Yeah. And I feel like it's very, I agree. That's kind of my ultimate conclusion, which I guess I maybe shouldn't say now, but that basically draws directly to my conclusion about it.
Okay, we'll circle back.
Just, I don't know. I don't even know how to verbalize, but watching this movie, being a teen or even a tween and being a white one at that, like the way that we viewed this movie, it like was so in line with what was comfortable for us, kind of.
Yeah.
That it was so like palatable
Yeah.
from a white perspective that watching it now is like just it's uncomfortable. I don't know. That was kind of all over the place.
No, I think a kernel of what you were saying is really true, especially like the way that this movie acts as if all of these racial stereotypes are like so obvious and like of course everyone's like this, but like we're just gonna actually name it, and like it's like confirmation bias of like all of your worst like I don't know, like your biased viewpoints when you're like a white kid in like a majority white school, like the fact that they're like
the cafeteria.
Asian nerds, like unfriendly black hotties, like all of that. It's like it's not even necessarily that those cliques don't exist, but it's the way that they are referred to and the way that they're portrayed is just really like icky now.
Like Lindsay Lohan is like the girl's girl, like everybody can relate to her, I guess.
The girl next door, yeah.
Yeah, but it's not until later that I think that I was able to like really take count of the fact that large majority of the world doesn't relate to her, and also I don't even think I relate to her. It's like that much.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
you just kind of put yourself into those shoes, like and yes, she's the protagonist, so you will put yourself in her shoes as you go on her journey, but like I don't know how to say it better.
Because this movie goes out of the way to acknowledge race kind of constantly. Like, like it comes up a lot and it's always a punchline, and it's sort of like, would it have been better for them to just not acknowledge race at all? Because I feel like that's like a lot of people, like a lot of white creators fall into that category now, where it's like, okay, I'm just going to stay so deeply in my lane that I'm not even going to like acknowledge that there are other groups, like kind of falling into the thing also that's like, is it my story to tell? Like, where is the line? Like all that shit.
Yeah.
And like, I don't think that there's obviously like not one right answer, but just watching the way that this uses like acknowledging race as like an edgy comedic tool, it just really dates it a lot.
At the end, when Miss Katie Heron is up there after having won the crown at the dance, she has this whole speech and then ultimately like splits her crown into pieces and tosses it out to all the disenfranchised people.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I just this scene is like crazy to watch now, because you basically just picked one member of each like disadvantaged group in some way, and then like threw a piece of a crown to them as like a Band-Aid consolation prize, and then they're all like thrilled and they're all just so happy to have been acknowledged by her greatness, kind of. I'm like, I don't think that I would forgive Katie. I don't think I would like her anymore. Like, I just think that they get over it so fast for the convenience of the ending. There's no, I don't think I would like her. I don't think I would vote for her. And if I was like one of the, like when she goes, I forget the name of the character, but she goes, like, that that hairdo looks like it took you hours and you look so beautiful.
Yes. So condescending.
Like, ew, like if I was that girl in the crowd, I'd be like, fuck you, I'm leaving. Like, I want no part of this. And she's just like looking all like bashful and like, it's just like, it just makes me feel bad. Like, I don't like it.
No, bashful is literally the perfect word.
Right?
Yes.
She looks literally bashful.
She looks like a fucking seven dwarf with the look on her face. It's so true.
Yeah, like, How many takes of that did they have to do?
Oh, I hate that for her.
I know. And then you've got the girl in a wheelchair, you've got the gay kid, you've got the various non-white people, Kevin, and like the one girl that they keep making say lines that are just insane. Like the black girl.
Yep. The one who's like, my hair.
Oh yeah, I guess so. I didn't notice that one.
I think the I'm from Michigan line is really good.
I'm from Michigan, and she's the one who says, "It's not your fault. You're so gap-toothed." Yeah.
She had some good lines.
So she's got some great lines. I you know what? We should actually look her up and figure out who she is.
Her name is Miranda Edwards.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
Miranda Edwards,
thank you for your service in this movie. And thank you for withstanding all of the bullshit that I'm sure you dealt with.
Yeah, truly.
I mean, again, it's like with this creator, Tina Fey, who has like had people in blackface on TV, has had people in yellowface on TV, has kind of just insisted upon racial humor for a really long time. It's just hard to watch this movie and like give it a good faith interpretation as far as anything beyond just like the bare bones plot goes. And also like I do wonder if there was a little bit of Tina Fey that like was bullied in high school and middle school and like had beef against Mean Girls, because like I was also really wondering to myself, like, is this movie has a really weird handle on like its internalized misogyny. Like it is really like all over the place. And again, like I can already hear the people being like, it's not that deep, like it's just a movie. But like at the same time, it's like a life imitates art, and if you tell a whole generation of girls that like hot girls are mean, not to say that I'm getting on here saying feel bad for hot girls, because trust and believe that's not what I'm saying, but you know, it's like this stuff doesn't exist in a vacuum, and it definitely made a huge impact on popular culture and therefore culture at large. So I just wonder, like, why does this exist? I'm glad it does, but there's just a lot to think about.
Tina Fey's writing here, she did push the envelope a bit, especially for like the age group that it was made for, and that is not going to age well, like always. So the fact, I don't know, like it's like I'm still glad it exists because we can watch it now and see how far we've come. Like what's the point of art and all that and comedy if it doesn't like reflect the times. Like it should reflect the times, and there's no like going back on that, and it does. Seeing the contrast of then and now is like what makes things interesting. So I agree. This is not us trying to like really cancel Mean Girls. Like that's not the point. It's just saying that like as two people that watched this movie like 5 zillion times in our minivan growing up, like two white girls, it's just really wild to look back at it and be like, wow, we were really spoon-fed all these stereotypes from a really young age, and it does make an impact on things. It's kind of like the New York Minute phenomenon, not quite as bad, but like similar. No, not nearly as bad. No, nothing could ever be as bad as that. Yeah. We ruined that movie, I think, for several people. We did. Sorry. I was wondering, maybe this is our like closing note, how we acquired the DVD, and Mom must not have watched it, because there is simply no way we would have been able to watch it if she did. I agree. I think I might have got it at the Exchange or something. Yeah, because I remember watching it and feeling like it was like slightly illicit, but like I'm not going to say anything. Yeah, of course not. Me and my friends in high school used to go to like middle school, high school. Used to go to this store called the Exchange, which like if you live in Cleveland, you know what it is. But basically, it's like
almost like a thrift store, but for like CDs and VHSs and DVDs and video games and stuff like that. And that just seems like something that I could have gotten for like $6 from the exchange, and then we watched it like 5,000 times.
Yeah, that seems accurate, but
Yeah.
and just we didn't even touch on this, but like the really like overt like hooking up in this
Yes.
movie, and the like the freaking gym, like the health teacher actually committing crimes.
Yeah.
That's
the second movie in a row that's come up for us.
Yes. But you guys don't know that yet because the other one hasn't come out.
But you'll see.
But I as a kid, I think that was really like foreign to me. Obviously, I was just like, this feels very mature.
How do we wrap this up? I really enjoyed rewatching this movie. It has major flaws, but at the same time, it's definitely a classic for a reason. And I laughed out loud several times.
Yeah, I mean, it is beloved by all types of people. Like,
everyone knows it's flawed. Everyone knows that it's flawed.
Yes.
But honestly, if you have that many iconic women in one movie, like, it's over, you know?
Like it is what it is. We gotta throw in the towel.
Yeah. And it belongs in the National Film Registry for sure. So not next week, but the week after, we are celebrating 1 year of Sleepover Cinema, if you can believe it. We will have been doing the show for a whole year, which is really fun and exciting. And we are going to do some sort of special episode. We're thinking we might do some Q&A. We might do maybe like some highlights from some of the other episodes that we've done. But if you have an idea for our 1 year celebration episode, please let us know. You can send us a DM on Instagram at toopinkpictures, or you can email us at toopinkpictures@gmail.com. We already have gotten a couple really good ideas from people on Instagram. But keep them coming if you have anything you want us to talk about. Enjoy rewatching Mean Girls. I hope you actually rewatch it, because it really is worth watching.
And let us know your thoughts as well, like about like Tina Fey writing, just all that. I'm curious to know.
Yes, definitely. Okay, well, thank you once again for listening, as always, and we will see you next week. Bye.
Bye. You can find more from us at evergreenpodcast.com/sleepover-cinema and keep up with our latest creative projects at toopinkpictures.com. If you want to watch our show as well as listen, we're on YouTube too. Search Sleepover Cinema or go to the link tree in our Instagram bio. We're on Instagram and Twitter at toopinkpictures and would love to hear from you there. We're also on TikTok at Sleepover Cinema, and that's really where the party is at.
And if you like the show, if it brings back evocative memories of childhood or tweendom or babysitting, share the episode with a few friends. Leave us an iTunes review telling us what movie you'd like to see us cover next, and leave us a review if you like the show, and if you don't, don't. Sleepover Cinema is a production of Evergreen Podcasts, produced, edited, and engineered by us, Hannah and Audrey Leach. Sleepover Cinema is mixed by Sean Rule Hoffman, with theme music by Josh Perlman Hall. Special thanks to executive producers Michael D'Aloia and David Moss. We'll chat again soon.